Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Lazy Cat Reactions. So this is titled Hotshot. Jack and Georgie head off for a long-awaited fishing trip that lands them in a situation they hadn't bargained on. So the good thing is, there will be some nice bonding between Jack and Georgie. I mean, as we know in the last season, Jack tried to adopt her and was turned down, but from the beginning, he and Georgie have had this bond. So I like that they're going to get to go on this fishing trip, but of course, in a situation they had a bargain on. I'm thinking, so it's probably going to be some nature problem. Maybe not, but maybe one of them gets sick or injured or they have to encounter an animal. I mean, we'll obviously find out. I don't want to speculate too much because I'm going to find out. But it's going to be one of those where they're going to bond, they're going to come out stronger together. As we saw in the last episode, Ty's friend Joe finally got out of prison and was basically trying to manipulate him into getting money and stuff like that. I do think Joe did want to see him. And I do think he really is proud of Ty for trying to slide around. I really do think that. But yeah, he felt that he could manipulate Ty because of the fact that he had gone back to QB while Ty went to probation there. And I do like how at the end of the last episode, Ty had said to Amy that he didn't do it all on his own. Amy was there to help. And I was like, oh, that's sweet. So anyways, let's see what happens with the fishing trip. I'm excited for Jack and Georgie to spend some time together. I think that's going to be great. I think Lou and Peter are going to like that too. You know? I think they like it when they spend time together. And I like how Georgie now is just so integrated into the family. I still am, you know, I still like her, but I'm also kind of like meh with her at times. But yeah, I like how now that they have adopted her, she's just full on like part of the family. You know, she doesn't hold back. She helps with the horses, and I like that. And I do want Georgie and Shane to meet, so hopefully we will get that at some point. So let's get started. They had set it up. Come on, I paused you. The way they had set it up that we weren't seeing her for a long time, I was like, it's gonna be that chick that stole the belt, and it was. So obviously we've got probably product of a broken home, and that's probably caused her to turn to kleptomania and everything. That's my guess. And obviously Tim's gonna have to deal with that. But I like how he was assertive and saying, you know, get in the truck now. And the doctor looked impressed. She was kind of like, okay. Yeah. One thing I noticed on the show is they like J names, because we've had a lot of characters with J names. We've had Janice, Joe, Jeff. I'm pretty sure there's been a couple, Jake. Yeah, there was Jake as well. So we've had, and Jack. So there's 5 right there. J names on this show. So it's kind of, and now we have Jake. So we have Jake. We can take the K out and put a D in, and now we've got Jake. So yeah, they like J names on their show, because there's a lot with the letter J, which is kind of funny.
Right now?
He's probably busy.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Oh, I get it.
Took a little while for the pain to dry. She's kind of a dick right there, Ty.
Or his teeth or anything. But
The wives are like, yeah.
luckily, we were able to get past our differences. You all know what I'm talking about, right?
The wives all seem to
Ridiculous
agree.
hours. All right.
Looks like she's a hit with the wives. The wives agree.
Here he goes. Is that Katie?
But he didn't hear the part where she was kind of talking a bit about solutions, so he kind of got that wrong.
We are.
Remember when Amy and Ty were
Jack,
and Ty got sick?
come on here.
What do you mean?
In juvie. If Jade were my kid, we would not have this problem, to be honest. Because if Jade were my kid, yeah, there's no way in hell I'd let her get away with it. Because, you know, the doctor, I forget her first name, but she's making excuses. She's like, oh, she does this sometimes. Well, put a stop to it. All right? You may not have full custody because she had said something about her daughter being gone, but put a stop to it. You can do that. All right? Be a freaking parent. Do your damn job. So, I'm sure Jade acts like that because, you know, product of a broken home and, you know, parents are divorced and she figures she can get away with shit. And that's why you have to establish boundaries. That's why you have to teach kids what's right and what's not. And when they break those boundaries, they get punished. She's making excuses. And it's like, don't make excuses. Make results. Be a damn parent and do your job. Well, the truck looks like it's in decent shape. I mean, it didn't hit anything. It just kind of went off the road. And she stopped. But this stupid kid, she won't know, you know, she won't like learn or anything, you know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it looks like she's going to be kind of surprised here, but she's not going to learn, right? And Peter needs to shut up and listen, you know, because he was like, oh, talk about, you know, put me down in front of my colleagues or whatnot, and I'd be like, look, I was relating to the wives. We all think the same thing. And I wasn't putting you down, it was in front of the wives. And we were discussing, you know, I mean, Lou could have explained herself a little better. Peter is, of course, going off the deep end of it. And, you know, she said something about money, and he said, well, I'm talking about babies. And I'm thinking, since when were you talking about babies? You're wanting to have another kid when you have two right now? Like, Jesus Christ, Peter. Like, slow your roll. Maybe Lou isn't ready for that. You know, you guys are still adjusting to having Georgie. So, chill out. The wives find it funny. Well, a couple of the wives were laughing, a couple of them were, but a couple of them found it funny. And I'm like, come on, that is funny. You open it up and you see, yeah. It's like, oh, they're stuck on the elevator. That's something to do, so. But, you know, I am glad that they were both able to apologize. And like she said, she wasn't like slamming Peter. It was just the situation in general. And again, she was relating to the wives, because all the wives thought the same thing. So, you know, and Peter did admit, of course, about overreacting. It's like, yeah, you kind of did. You know, you should have trusted that everything was going to be okay. But, you know, people always do that. We always jump to conclusions. It's one of human nature's greatest traits. I like how they're open-minded. Jack needs to get back with Lisa. And I'm kind of wondering if what we saw there was kind of like a little bit of a hint that they are going to get back together, or if we're at least going to see her, because you could tell obviously how much he was sad and missing her, because yeah, he took her out there, and he doesn't take just anyone out to that cabin. And my heart just broke for Jack, you know, especially that first scene, the first time we saw her, you know, and then of course they had that meal there and everything, and you know, and it was interesting that he was seeing Lisa and not Lindy, because the first time, I think it was the man's best friend episode with his truck, he kind of ran off and ran to the fishing cabin and remembered the time he was there with Lindy, when Lindy had given him the truck and everything. And now he was seeing Lisa, not Lindy. So that says something. That says a lot. So I really, really, really hope they get back together. I mean, finding out, what was it, last season, that Lisa was on one of those dating apps, I was just like, but sometimes on these shows, they get back together. Maybe they need some time apart to go together. Season 3 of Nancy Drew, the character George said that she and her boyfriend needed to kind of grow apart to grow together. It was something to that effect, or like they had to separate to grow together. Something to that effect. I don't remember the exact words. But yeah, it was something to that effect, that they kind of had to find their own path in order for them to come back together. Like they kind of had to go off on their own journey, and then that will help them come back together and ultimately stay together. Because unfortunately, sometimes what happens is people get together and it doesn't work out because they didn't walk their own path. They didn't get the opportunity to kind of be themselves. And so that unfortunately then causes a couple to break up. And then when they break up, you know, yeah, then they are walking their own path anyways. But the point is, this could happen in reality. I think that there are a lot of times when there are couples who are perfect for each other, but maybe they don't walk their own path. And so that does ultimately cause them to break up. And maybe they do move on and are happy with other people. But sometimes I think that they just let go too soon, too easily. You know, that it's the whole what could have been if they had given it like more time. So kind of going back to that, you know, Jack and Lisa are kind of walking their own path right now. And so I'm hoping that that will help them end up growing together and coming back together. I mean, Amy and Ty kind of went through that. You know, it looked like maybe they were kind of getting together, and then they kind of went their own way for a little bit, and then got together, and then broke up, and then now back together. So hopefully we will see Jack and Lisa together again. And it was nice to see Jade kind of owning up there, and how she was like, you know, if you call the cops, that's fine. You know, she's starting to take responsibility. What Jack said, she was like, what is this, a backwoods teaching lesson? And it's like, well, it's something that you need. And it doesn't matter if it's backwoods or not, you need something. And Jack makes a very valid point. I mean, that's the reason why Georgie is more stable than you are. But maybe Jade needs that. And like I said, it does seem like she is kind of wanting to own up or make a little bit of a change, which is good. So thank you for joining me for this reaction. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts about anything regarding the episode, especially about Jade, down in the comments. I'd like to know what you guys think. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lazy Cat Reactions. And if you can support my channel, either on Patreon or buy me a coffee, I have the link in the description for that. And I'll see you in my next video.